It's Jess here with Emotional Fire Academy, here to talk about highly sensitive body symptoms. Now, subscribe to my channel if you are a highly sensitive person ready to evolve this year, shed any unwanted perks of being an HSP. That's what we do here on this channel. Welcome. I'm Jess. I am a master NLP practitioner and former firefighter. So we're going to dive really deep today. Please know, this is my caveat, this is not a substitute for medical advice. We're approaching this subject from a philosophical, metaphysical, bigger picture perspective, so understand that going into it. This is offering you an alternative in what I have found to be true. And I want to start with a quote from the great Amanda Frances. I just read her book. I might talk about that soon in one of my videos. So if money is a subject you want to hear about, drop a comment below and let me know that, because I'm contemplating making a video on HSPs and money. But she said in her book, I highlighted this quote 3 times, you have to be willing to question what appears to be true for you in order to decide what gets to be true. Let me say that one more time. You have to be willing to question what appears to be true in order to decide what gets to be true. And this takes a degree of, being really brave and assertive and bold. And I can say that this is an area of my life, health, body, where I really shine. I just naturally have always kind of been this way. I trust in my own body's ability to heal, ability to change, ability to take on abilities or skills, ability to shed abilities and skills. So this is something where I have really excelled, and I thought about, okay, what are the steps that I'm doing? And I broke them down for you today. So I'm going to give some personal examples. But your body is part of the matrix. I believe, because this is a belief that serves me, that serves my well-being, that we live in an illusion. We live in an illusion of that our consciousness is embedded in this illusion of reality. And I had this realization a while ago that our body is also part of the illusion. It's part of the matrix. And it is a very convincing part of the matrix, right? Because we have our senses, we touch, taste, feel, smell, hear, and because of that, we really highly identify with our body. And so when we talk about identity and body symptoms of the highly sensitive person, this identity of being a highly sensitive person often comes with these body symptoms of jumpiness, of misophonia, which is not liking certain sounds, of a lot of people talk about the feel of a sweater. They don't like itchy or scratchy or uncomfortable clothing. They don't like certain sights or tastes or scents. These are all body symptoms experienced by highly sensitive people. And that is kind of encapsulated in the identity. There's these narratives that that's just what it's like to be a highly sensitive person. I'm here to call bullshit on that today. Because when I stopped identifying, right, when we identify with something, we embody it. That's part of taking it on as an identity. It's a truth that we believe so deeply that we embody it. It manifests through our body, through our beingness. And so when we want to, and most likely if you're here because of a body symptom, it's a problem. And so, because we don't usually look for information when things are really good. So if you're here because you have a body symptom that is an issue, you're in the right place. Stay with me. Watch to the end of the video. I have a lot to say and it all fits together. So you're in the right place. And this also applies to injuries, to dealing with illnesses or disease. This is particularly pertinent with COVID still kind of lingering. Because your body is part of the matrix, is part of the illusion, it operates according to the same laws and assumptions as when you are trying to manifest out in the real world. When you're trying to change or affect the real world reality outside of our bodies, what we perceive as outside of what we can literally see of ourselves, the body is included in that. And knowing that, from a metaphysical perspective, from a personal growth perspective, we can then, act in similar ways as we would if we were trying to affect reality by changing our thoughts. And that's part of what I teach here at Emotional Fire Academy, is taking control of your emotions, not letting them rule you, and recognizing that they're a process, recognizing that, again, your body is part of the dream that we're all in, and we can have the same results if we apply the same tactics to body symptoms. So what we believe about our body really becomes our reality. It is that simple. What we believe about our body, we receive. If we believe that there are typical symptoms of being a highly sensitive person that manifest through our body, if we adhere to this paradigm that has been set for us, that I'm easily overstimulated, I don't like loud noises, I get overwhelmed around people, all of this stuff, this narrative and story, that doesn't have to be true for us. Because I found when I stopped identifying as an HSP so strongly, when I just released all of that, when I released my identity as an empath, all of those symptoms just melted away. They melted away. I ceased to create them. I ceased to notice them and make them important and make them, oh yeah, well, that's part of who I am. That's part of being an HSP. It doesn't have to be true. So, and we can change it, and we can change it. You can change. There are literally no rules when it comes to your body. Your body is part of the illusion. It can be affected just as easily as outside reality when we are taking conscious control, when we are maintaining a degree of emotional awareness for ourselves, where we expect certain outcomes, believe certain things as a strategy to get what we want. So let me give you an example of this and break down how we actually do this. How do we eliminate a body symptom we don't like? How do we quit identifying with a body symptom? We start with a gentle allowance. So the data that's coming in from our body is just data, just like any other data coming from outside of our bodies. It's a piece of data that we are then going to gently allow. And maybe it's pain, maybe it is a recurring habit that we have, we're an insomniac, or we're just gently allowing it. What's the first thing we want to do if we want to change our relationship to it, change our mindset to it, get a different result? We have a gentle allowance. We acknowledge that it's there. We see the data comes in. We see that it's there. And just like a roommate, we're just like, yeah, I see you, you're there. And then we kind of go about our day. It's not a resistance. Often with these body symptoms or with an injury or with a disease or an illness, we push against it, right? We don't want it. We fixate on it. We're like, oh, if only I could be healthy. If only I could get better. If only I could feel better. If only I could... We fixate on it, and that creates this excess potential, which makes the problem bigger and bigger and bigger. We're giving importance to the problem. We don't want to do this. And this is where I shine. I just am like, yeah, so what, my foot hurts today. Like, yeah, that's cool. It's there. I'm gently allowing it's there. It's not saying that we're accepting it, that we like or dislike its presence. We're just approaching it with neutrality. We're just observing. Okay, it's there, gently allowing it. And that allows us to release our attention from the symptom, gently release our attention so that we can focus our attention somewhere else. Because when something is painful or obvious or in our face, or we really have to fix it, or we want to give attention to it. We want to tend to it. We want to resolve it, make it go away, resist it. And that creates the resistance, and we're fighting against it. We just want to gently allow it. We're gently allowing. We receive the data. We're like, okay, I see you. We're allowing our attention to go other places. We know that it's there. Number 2, we trust that it's temporary. We trust that it's temporary. For me, it's a knowingness that I trust in my body's ability to heal, to change, to grow. I mean, my body, the cells are replacing itself. I digest without having to consciously think about it. Like I go to sleep without having to consciously think about it. I breathe involuntarily sometimes. Like, my body is amazing. It does its own thing. It does its own thing. I trust my body. I trust that everything is temporary, including body symptoms or conditions that I'm suffering from, circumstances surrounding my body. I know they're temporary. Everything, if we dig down, let's dig down into that belief. Everything is temporary. Everything. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. Everything will end. So if we can really ground into that, knowing it's temporary, as opposed to incorporating it right into our, generating a lot of meaning, incorporating it into identity, assuming that the sickness or the condition will always be us, right? It's when we give a lot of excess meaning to the data. The data's coming in, we give it excess meaning. This is just what it means to be an HSP. We shift our beliefs to include this data and add it to our identity. We don't want to do that. We're just trusting it's temporary. We're trusting that our body can heal itself, can be different, can change, that we're constantly changing. Our cells are turning over. All of our cells are turning over. The only thing that is really the same about us from birth to death are our corneas and some of our heart tissue. So literally, our cells are regenerating all the time. We're not the same. We're changing dynamically every day. So trusting that the condition is temporary then releases the meaning. We don't want to take on the meaning of this is going to be forever. This is how it is. I have to deal with this. No, we don't have to do that. And so in releasing that meaning, we can then redirect our attention to other areas. Go paint, go dance, go sing, go hang out with friends, read a magazine, do what we love, garden, whatever we're doing. Usually the symptom is there in the background, but it's this gentle redirection and then until one day we realize it's gone, right? It's been in our periphery and it's gone. It literally evaporates. That's what happens when we remove importance, which is attention and meaning, from the problem. It ceases to be a problem. And then in our reality, it will dissolve and wither until it is gone. And so let me give you an example of this. A few years ago, I sustained a shoulder injury. A friend of mine tossed me and I landed with my arm outstretched. I felt the muscle in my shoulder tear. I felt it tear. I knew there was something wrong. This was my real-time reaction to it. We went to the ER. I ended up getting an MRI and it was confirmed, yes, the muscle has torn away. I have a slap tear. And that essentially what happens is the joint is now unstable, and because the musculature and some of the ligaments have torn off, literally torn free, and so the doctor advised me if I didn't correct this situation with surgery that I would have a lifetime of problems with this joint and pain and everything else. So what did I do? What did I do? So I just was like, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna, I'm accepting that this is the temporary situation of my shoulder. I decided to do physical therapy instead. I did some exercises for a while. That was okay. I just was like, this is just how things are. I trusted that it's temporary. I knew that it was going to heal itself. I trusted, even though the data was pointing to, oh my God, I ripped the muscles off my shoulder. Oh, I better fix it. The data, the data was pointing to this is a problem. I decided that I trusted my body. It was going to heal. Everything was going to be okay. I was going to return back to normal. I didn't know how. I didn't know how. I just was like, I'm going to go back to normal. And that is exactly what happened. And then I actually got really into weightlifting, and not even 3 months later was lifting really heavy weights with that shoulder. And so in doing this, I alleviated a body symptom that I was told was going to be problematic and has ceased to be a problem because I believed it wasn't going to be, because I believed in my bodies to heal. Our bodies want to return to homeostasis. When left alone, our bodies will naturally return to homeostasis. And so worrying about it, fixating on it, thinking so much about this problem, that isn't how we fix it. And this can apply to, again, any body symptom that you're experiencing that is unpleasant or isn't serving you or you just want to be rid of. We do the same process. Gently allow it to be there. Meet it with neutrality so we can release our attention. Trust it's temporary. Know that everything is changing. Your body is constantly changing. And redirect our attention to other areas. This process, though I have probably done it unconsciously when I was younger, I've overcome lactose intolerance. I have beaten certain viruses that I was told that, oh, we need to deal with this right now. And I'm like, no, it's cool. I'm good. Like, I'm going to be fine. So I've overcome injuries this way. I just have a trust in my body that I will overcome by trusting that it's going to heal itself and moving on with life and not giving so much attention to it. And this homeostasis does return inevitably, and these are real-time results. And so a lot of these body symptoms, again, like I said, are about identity, about believing them, making them your truth. So you have to be willing to question what appears to be true for you in order to decide what gets to be true for you. This concept is also reiterated in the book by Joe Dispenza called Becoming Supernatural, where people have overcome illnesses, diseases, handicaps, just in incredible mass because they practice a new reality. And this isn't just magic. It's real. It happens. I've done it. You can do it too. Check out that book. I'll put the information below. And let me know what you think about this. Comment below if you are looking to gain this kind of mental control in your life. If you are looking to shed the old stories about what it means to be an HSP and what that necessarily entails, you get to make the rules. Remember that you get to make the rules. And if you need one-on-one guided support through that process, I'm here to help. Check out my 3-month support program, Flammable to Fireproof. That is more details available at emotionalfireacademy.com. I'll put that below as well. And thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful.